guys, thank you so much for clicking this video. In my last video we talked about how purity culture messed up my first kiss, and I was like, let me just make this video real quick to see what kind of response I'd get. And a lot of people really liked it, and a lot of people supported, you know, not supported, but a lot of people had a lot to say that felt the same and really, you know, and liked that I was talking about this topic. Because it's actually a personal topic for me, and it's something that's been on my heart for a long time. I've been talking about for the longest, and I mean, I've been watching YouTube videos about it, but I have not found the video that's like, oh yeah, that really like helped me, encourage me. It was more like, now I'm over here because this was so bad. Like, now I just completely left the faith, and like God's just not real, just because like purity culture was a hot mess. But I just want to say that just because purity culture didn't work out doesn't mean that God is a mess or is not real or is not true. Like, purity culture was made up by people who are messed up, like everybody on this planet's messed up. Everybody's got like hurt and broken and like weird thoughts and like, but that's nothing to write off God for. So in this video we're actually going to talk about how it's affected my sex life as a Christian, and things that I've struggled with that was like really deep and personal that I didn't even know. Like, I had no idea that my problems were because of feeling that way, like in my previous video, feeling like shame and all that stuff. But there's one problem that I really want to address, because you can watch other videos, whatever, talking about purity culture and like how it just messed up people. But there's one issue I've struggled with for probably about like 3 years of my marriage. And like, I'm gonna refold some clothes real quick, okay? Because this is all my daughter's costume. Sorry, I'm like changing the topic real quick. And her clothes, because I'm switching rooms, because we gotta prepare for this baby. So I'm gonna be doing that while I'm telling you this story. But anyway, the main thing that I was struggling with was feeling like I didn't want my husband to desire me. Like, I didn't want him to look at me and like want me. I didn't want to be wanted in that sense, like in a sexual way. And I'm like, why? You know, like all these years, I'm like, you know, when we were dating, it's like, obviously, you know, when you're dating and if you're trying to be celibate and trying to wait till you're married, like, that's a struggle. Like, it's a struggle. Like, there's no way, like, you're like, I'm not gonna make it, blah blah. But after I got married, like, we made it, right? We waited till we were married. But after I got married, I was like, I don't want to do anything. And I didn't want him to look at me. I was like, don't look at me like that. Like, I didn't tell him that. That's what I was thinking. I'm like, why is he, it's making me uncomfortable. Like, I don't like the way it feels. I don't like that. It makes me feel like I don't want to do anything with you. Like, that's, I don't know. Pray for my husband. Obviously, we're so much better now, but I'm just sharing some stuff that I struggled with for 3 years into our marriage. And we're going to be 6 years this September. So like, that ate up like 3 years of our marriage. And I didn't want to be desired, because it's like, you're not supposed to do that. Like, you're not supposed to look at me that way because I'm pure, or because I'm like, you know, I think it's just pure. You're just not supposed to look at me like that. So when he was looking at me like that, I'm just like, mm-mm. And that messed up our sex life for a while, because I'm over here feeling that way, and I'm feeling like shamed. Like, I feel dirty. It's like, don't look at me like that. I'm not like that, you know, I'm whatever. And it's like, so basically God exposed that part of my life. And those 3 years, like right after those 3 years, like, God's like, you can't keep living like this. You can't keep destroying this part of your marriage and not knowing why and not working on it, you know. And after he exposed it, and he's like, look, that's not me. That's not what I want for you. That's not how I created this. Like, you have a whole perception that's just wrong. And I don't know, I had no more space on my memory card. Then I look back at the video, I'm like, yo, my face looks so puffy and pregnant. I already have big cheeks, so I'm gonna look like a chipmunk when I'm like, probably in like a couple weeks. Like, it's just gonna keep getting bigger and bigger, and I'm gonna look crazy. But I also don't have no makeup on, so I'm just like, whatever. I'm just rocking this video. We're gonna see. I don't really care, but whatever. So what I was saying was, I'm not sure, but I'm gonna just start here. God started to show me that why I felt that way, or my decision to stay pure, was basically because I was pressured, and like fear was a part of that. So it's like, oh, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. Like, you can't have sex, like, don't do it. You know, like, blah, blah. And it's like, not because, like, if you're a part of the church, like, teach them the way God like, what God created sex for. You know what I mean? Like, don't scare anybody into, like, not doing something. That doesn't help change the heart, because everybody's got to make their own decision in life. God just really wants us to do things out of our heart, not out of our brain, and make decisions, you know, like, oh, I just have to do this because, like, I'm a Christian, like, I just gotta blah blah. But it's like, no, I want to do it because it's like, I want to honor God. So that's what God was like showing me. He's like, you didn't do that because you wanted to honor me, you did it because you were like pressured and scared, because like everybody around you scared you. But that's all I wanted to say about that. So after I posted this video, a couple people like messaged me and was just saying how, which is so true, and I always thought about it, but I was just wrapped up in my own stuff, that purity culture is mainly pushed on women, on girls, like it's like the girl's decision to stay pure. But like, aren't we gonna teach like boys and young men the same thing? Like, they have to be held accountable just as well. Like, they're the ones that's a part of it. You know, it's not just the woman. So like, it takes two to tango. We already know this. We already know. So it's just showing like how it's kind of biased, and like women mainly struggle with this. Like, I feel like men struggle with it in a different way, but like the shame and all that stuff is from, like, I can talk to women and they're like, yeah, like, I just feel this way about it. But like, you don't really see men like, oh, like on the wedding night, like, no man, I can't, it was just too shameful. Like, no. Like, they have different problems, which I could talk about in another video, because I was actually talking to my husband about this, because he is a psychologist, and you know, like, he knows all about, like, you know, this stuff. And he gave me some like really good pointers of like the difference in how men struggle with purity culture, and it doesn't look like how women struggle with it, like, because we're not the same, we're so different, so why would it? But yeah, no, I don't remember like in church, like, I don't remember nobody, like, I mean, the guys, like, I don't know, they just never said, oh yeah, I'm waiting. Like, it was just a women thing. Like, only girls were like, I'm waiting until I'm married, blah blah. But like, maybe they were and they just didn't say it, you know what I mean? But like, it was, like I said, pushed on women. Like, it was honored. You are honored as a woman if you're doing this. Like, this is an honor. It's like, no, it's also an honor if you're a man and you're doing it as well. Like, so anyway, I think the only boys I knew, I didn't know, but the only boys I knew was like the Jonas Brothers. Like, they were the only 3 boys that took the purity ring ceremony and all that stuff, which didn't work out, and that's okay. But those were the only ones that I know. But yeah, so that's all. So I just want to say this as well. If you made a vow to God to stay pure, and you didn't, like, you broke that vow, please know that God still loves you. And like, he knows our bodies, he knows our hormones, like, he knows it's hard. That's why I forget, I'm gonna find it, but I'm gonna post the verse itself down wherever in this video, but my favorite verse, and I'm like, this explains that God knows people, and that he's not like holding us to this like high standard where it's like you need to like be here, you know, like the verse, and I'm gonna butcher this verse, but this is like how I remember it. A righteous person falls 7 times but gets back up. Like, we're gonna fall. Like, he knows that we're going to mess up, but he's just like, it's okay, get back up. You know, he's not like, oh, it's okay to trip, but you can't fall. No, he's like, they fall. Like, a righteous person falls 7 times. That just means that they just keep messing up. Like, we keep getting it wrong. And he knows that. That's why he had to send his son and die. Because he's like, y'all just keep falling. Like, it's okay. Like, just keep getting back up. Don't give up. If you're like me and you waited till you were married and now you're struggling in your marriage, like, really sit and take time and think about it. Think about, why are you feeling this way? Don't just keep doing it saying, oh, I just don't like it. I just don't know why I don't want him to look at me like that. Like, no. Sit down and think about it, because that's not cool. It's not cool to act that way and ruin your marriage. Like, my husband is so great. Like, he's so patient, and so, like, he was there with me this whole time trying to help me figure it out. Like, he wasn't like, why do you keep doing it? Like, why do you keep... It's like, no, like, he was so patient. I'm so blessed, like, with the kind of husband that I had. Like, he's amazing. But yeah, like, take your time to figure out why you're feeling like this and work on it, because it is very important. Like, having a healthy sex life is so important. And now, 6 years later, what I can say is that I am so much better. I am not in the same place that I was before. Occasionally, I'll go back to like thinking like, oh no, like shame, but God is like, no, push through it. It's not true. Like, I have to literally like suppress those lies. Not even suppress it, but just like kick them out the door and be like, no, that's not true. I'm not going to focus on that right now. So yeah. This is a lot, because I'm like, it's like hard for me to talk about it. The other day when I was talking about it, I was like crying, and I'm like, I'm not sure if it's because I'm pregnant or if it's just, but it's a lot. Like, really, Christians weren't taught these things. You're just taught not to do. You know, you're not taught like what's next. You know what I mean? Okay, like, don't do this, now you're married. Okay, enjoy, bye. It's like, what? No. No. Like, we need a healthier view of sex, because it's damaging people. So I'm so much better. I just wanted to share that, because it did trickle. It didn't just stop after I got married. Like, you think once you get married, it's like, oh, I'm gonna just let my free flag fly and I'm gonna just do whatever. It's like, no, it's worse. Like, it gets worse. Like, people always have these stories about, it's like, oh, we were dating for 6 years, we didn't want to get married, whatever, and that's fine. But then they're like, because once we get married, we're afraid something's gonna happen. You know, like, you're afraid that like it's just not gonna work out, and you don't want to put that label on it or whatever, because like right now things are going well. And that's kind of true, because once you get married, it does get harder. Everything that you're like struggling with in your dating life is going to only intensify when you're married. So if you don't fix that in your dating life, like, you will have a hard time in the future, you know? But yeah, so that is all I wanted to say. I am done yapping. So yeah, if you like this video, please subscribe. Give it a thumbs up. Tell me what you think. Like, if you struggle, like, what are your struggles? This is like Christian sex struggles. like waiting till you're married, all that stuff. Like, it's a struggle. Okay? That's the struggle. So, tell me what you think. And thank you for making it this far. I was like blabbing and doing a bunch of other crap. But thank you. Peace.